us for our Light Priestess Temple Live. And I have an incredible creator spotlight for you today and for all our community to gather. And beautiful sister Radha Nilia. She's the CEO of Radha Publishing House. She is an incredible force in the divine feminine publishing space. Radha is a mentor, best-selling author, and publisher and leader in the divine feminine space. And the creator spotlight of Light Priestess Temple is opening up the doors and connecting us together as one. And I'm so excited to share Radha with you and have Radha share her wisdoms with you. She says that there's never been a more important time for the divine feminine leadership on this planet to share their wisdoms and lead. And writing is a big part of that. And writing is your superpower. And I want to introduce Radha to you. So Radha, hello.
Hello. So wonderful to be here. Hello, everyone. So happy to be connecting with you energetically, even through this screen right now.
Welcome, sister. I am so excited. I've been so looking forward to connecting with you. We connected about a year ago
Yes.
for a Greece retreat where we were activating pyramids. And then your team kind of found us again.
Yeah.
And we connected and we're like, I remember you. I was, and so we got together again. And I'd love for people to hear your story before you became this force in the divine feminine publishing space. Tell us your story. How did that all come about? Did you have a career before that, or did you always write? And writing with the goddess, this is about how to create and write with Goddess Saraswati is our creator spotlight today. But before all of that, tell us your story. How did it all start? Like, what was an aha moment?
Yes. Well, it started in Hollywood, actually, believe it or not. I've always been drawn to storytelling. So I believed in films, filmmaking. And when I moved to Hollywood, I started early, in my 20s as a model. I put myself through school and the producers program. And then I took internships at studios until I got hired to do producing behind the scenes. And it was a very adrenaline rush to be part of that fast-paced world. It was my whole world. And I loved it. I loved connecting with everybody. I loved creating projects. I really love artists, writers, and my biggest goal was to create stories that made a difference because I knew how powerful film was. And so here I am, working hard, moving up the ladder until I hit a wall. And that wall had very much to do with the dark side of Hollywood. And I was confronted with many things that were not in alignment to my soul. And so literally I had a breakdown, not like breakdown, but the goddess came to me and she was like, you need to get rid of everything. Yeah, you need to get rid of everything that you have. I had 2 rooms full of wardrobe. I was a fashionista, fanatic, a red carpet. I loved red carpets and all that stuff. And I gave everything away. I did as I was instructed, not because I felt like I had to, but the voice of the goddess came. Kali came to me as a dark mother, and I cried. I wept. I wept on the floor for days because I knew I was going to make a decision that would change my life forever. I was saying goodbye to this world that I had invested so much into, my heart, my soul, every part of me. I was so passionate about this. And I I was drawn to the Appalachian Mountains, to the top of what I call, it's called Crystal Mountain, because we have huge crystals here that are underneath the ground, but they're feminine crystals. They're milky crystals, but they're massive.
Mm.
And so as I left everything behind, I was so tearful, and part of me died because it was a death of that persona, and that person that I was, and all of a sudden there was a space for something else to emerge. And I took time. I mourned and I grieved and I really went deep. And I live right next to a Native American gravesite as well. So all of this energy was working with me, unbeknownst to me. And the messages, I started to get much clearer messages because I wasn't around so many people. I'm now in on the top of Appalachian Mountains, and I'm literally on top of the hill, and I feel connected to the goddess like I've never felt before. And so the first thing I got after I sort of cleared out all my grief and my sorrow at releasing, I started to get information. And the information was, you're not done. You know, you think that you gave up all your dreams, but your dreams are just starting because you're here to help usher in this golden age. And that means that you're meant to work with many other people, but not the same kind of people. People that are on their journey, on their path of awakening, women who are part of the, you know, goddess collective, who have those codes inside them that have these dormant aspects of them that are starting to remember. And you're going to birth books, and you're going to help women birth their books, and you're going to empower the voice of the feminine because it is needed. And you could not do that in Hollywood. That was not not possible, because I used to try to give, you know, ideas and pitches, and they're like, no, just do what we tell you. You know, this is how it is. We're just going to make a remake of this. And I never had the opportunity to do what I really wanted to do there, you know. And so and I got really big opportunities. I was met with a choice point where I could have been a top producer, you know, but I had to follow the path of the divine feminine. And she's like, that's not aligned to your soul. That path is going to kill you. This path is going to empower you and everyone else that you're part of. So I said, okay, I surrender. Like, you know, that feeling when your heart breaks open and you're like, okay, like I surrender, I surrender, I surrender, and I'll give my life to this. And so I've been journeying on that path with devotion. And I think that's one of the prerequisites to the path of the divine, the path of the priestess, the path of the goddess, is that we are in devotion, not just for ourselves, but for all, right? We see the golden age, we see what's possible in front of us, and we know that we are a bridge, right? So I'm just a bridge to help women get their voices from one side to the other. That's it, you know, like that's my role right now. And so I accept it, and I said yes. And then these amazing people started to come into my life, where all over the world, all over the world. And I was like, this is amazing. We have authors from Spain, from Europe, from Asia, everywhere. And we're touching all corners of the earth, and everyone's activated in their pillar of light is what I see. Like how I saw it, the way that goddess showed me, is literally like every woman is this pillar of light, or even the men that are in the Starseeds books. And then there's a network, a light network. So we're regridding the earth through this work, through the words. Everything is encoded, right? So you understanding, you know, you're a woman who understands like codes because you're a carrier of codes, you know. So that was your divine birthright. That's who you are, and that's what you're here to give. And so the book contains frequencies of all these people that have been doing the work, and so they're activating the read. And we've gotten emails saying, wow, you know, sometimes people resonate with certain people in the book, and they're like, this person blew my mind, this is my story, that I'm not alone, you know. And that's what it's all about.
That's so amazing. You know, I have so many things I've written down here. Like just aligning with your soul. The goddess came to you. You know, I was standing in my factory of my clothing business, and a voice that wasn't mine said, "You are all done here." And I was like, no, 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 no. We're gonna have to talk about that. I'm not happy. I'm empty
Yeah.
inside. But I have built something for 15 years. Like what? And then my whole who I really am came in. I was hidden from myself. And same
Yes.
thing. That garment industry, it wasn't supporting the new earth. It was like
Mhm.
bartering every day, and I had
Mhm.
to stay in a 3D-ness, and I couldn't. And
Yeah.
I totally relate to that. And I want to also ask you, so you do multi-author books where
Mhm.
a lot of goddesses come together when you're sharing about that. How does someone who has a book in them, like if you're saying writing is your superpower and we need to
Mhm.
share, how does someone like what is, now that we know your story, going from Hollywood into that, your rebirth, probably you went through a time when you did nothing. This,
Yes.
like, I went from Mach 10 to Mach 0 myself, and you couldn't hide. Like, you couldn't hide in anything. You had to really face stuff. I'd really been pushing myself too
Mhm.
hard over my whole life, and I had
Yeah.
cysts and things growing in my body
Yeah.
because I was pushing it down. So now that you're now in this publishing, you're receive guidance from the goddess to help women to share your ability to lead and nurture and really kind of activate them to their abilities that are all these wisdoms we have inside and code carrying that women have and
Mhm.
beloveds. So what are some how-tos of how to work with a vision or a wisdom you have and to get it on paper? What are
Mhm.
some simple steps that you would tell someone who has trickling and bubbling of idea
Yeah.
or a manuscript, but
Yeah.
how do they do it? Like, what's
Yeah.
something make that real?
Exactly. It's a great mystery, the in-betweens, right? And that's
The liminal
the in-betweens. And you and I, we both sat in the mystery for a long, for that moment before we had that next step. So, you know, it's a beautiful process. So depending on where you are in your journey. So like we have one author that joined, Stories of the Goddess, and she had written her whole book, but she's not quite ready to publish it. She wants to cultivate more confidence, because the thing is, sometimes when you quote unquote come out of, your spiritual closet, and you're like, listen,
Oh,
there's
that's
a
so funny.
whole other world going on here. And people are like, what? So we kind of ease it in. We ease it in. And there's something really powerful about the collaborative books where the voices come together. Do you know how powerful that is? That's why I was instructed to do this, because when we come together hand in hand, sister to sister, we move mountains. And that's what we're really here to do, is to remember we don't have to do everything alone. We've all been like
Oh.
struggling alone, fighting alone,
Mhm.
going like, I'm gonna do it, and it's like that Rocky thing, all alone. No, we actually don't have to. Do you remember, we used to be in temples, we used to be together, we were literally like one. We loved each other, we held each other. One leader would come forward, we'd work with them, other women would come forward. We understood that every woman has their frequency, their divine frequency, and it doesn't compete with the other, because it's actually different. It's unique, but it's complementary. And I think that is what I'm here to remind us all of, is that we can go farther together than we can alone. And that's like, as a woman who's been in Hollywood fighting to get to the top, I understand that like, that story. And it's a very distorted, inverted story, because those are all inverted codes, right? I have to do it alone. There's only one queen. That whole thing, like, no, sister, you're a queen, I'm a queen, you're an empress. We're all like, why don't we, if we loved each other like more deeply, we'd be like, oh my gosh, my heart's full, I feel more empowered, I don't feel like I have to fight the world with my book. I can
Mhm.
come forward and share my truth from my soul, and know that these sisters have got my back, that I'm covered by protection, and that's, to me, that's really something that I had to release a lot of inverted codes. And I'm happy to admit that, because there was a lot of inversions going on, and I literally had to, there was a die off, like almost a parasitical die off, when I stepped into this. And then my heart bloomed, and I said, wow, there's something else going on, and it's way better than what was before. And it's not me conquering the world, it's me joining hands with others, and even if they want to create their own book, that they can, we support authors and everything from start to finish, because it's a long process.
Well,
And then,
tell us about that. You talk about, I know it's not the Piscean age anymore. You're
yeah,
not on your own. It's completely Aquarian age, a multi-author book. Maybe a sister out there feels that that's more a great way for her to get her foot into publishing by
yeah,
being in a chapter in one of your books or being in a
yeah.
multi-author book. It takes that pressure off,
It,
right? Of
it
being the
takes
only name
years.
on the cover.
Yeah,
And then there's writing your own book. I know
yes,
my own friends that have manuscripts they've been working on for years. That is like their life story. And, so either way, so how does someone go about, becoming a multi-author book, let's say in Stories of the Goddess? Like, tell us that process. I know you walk with them and you have author meetings and author
yeah.
circles and mentorship. So tell us more about how that ties into working with Saraswati and the goddess.
Absolutely. So, I think of it as like a temple. Like there's many pillars, and it's all the pillars that make one temple. You know what I mean? Like, could a temple just stand on one pillar? I don't think so. So this book is so powerful, and it's really about every woman coming forward with her own divine expression of what the goddess means to her, how it
Mm,
came through her story of connecting to the goddess. When we do this, it's a gift for our soul and it's a gift for others because others can relate to it. They can be like, wow, that's happened to me. Just like how our stories kind of have parallels. We're not alone as we think we are. We actually all have this journey, and there's so many similarities, and we can talk about totally different goddesses, but there's something that unifies this. And so, as I said, with this woman who's worked with Callie, and she has a whole manuscript on her book, but she's going to jump into this. And so how you would start is you would just fill out an application. We would just make sure that it's an energetic fit, because we really take a lot of integrity with these books and the energies and the frequencies, and we want women that are in their leadership, that are on their way to stepping forward to the next version of them, and so coaches and healers and all kinds of women that have different professions, some are retired. We have a lot of beautiful crones in the book, and I love crone wisdom. It's so valuable. All of it's valuable. And
mhm.
so you just connect. We get on a Zoom call and we see if it's right, and then we have there's a process of joining, and you're part of this energy field that we're going to carry through 2023. It's really important right now that we have this sisterhood like locked in, because we're making huge quantum shifts right now, and everybody's contribution is so important. We're actually quite literally shifting timelines every time someone says yes to themselves, right?
Mm.
Just like when people say yes, like to your events, they're saying yes to themselves.
Mhm.
When we say yes, I am owning my power, I'm owning my expertise, I am remembering who I am at the deepest core level. We are now accessing something. We're actually opening up a portal of the divine. And so each woman is a portal of the divine, and we're carrying all that through, and we're all over, the world. And
Mhm.
women in this book are from Australia. We're all over. And we're doing it together. And that's where we get our empowerment too, is remembering, again, we're not alone. And so for the woman who's doing her Callie book, she's using a chapter she already wrote for her book, putting it in because it's perfect for this. And then she's gonna go through the whole process. We're gonna train her about how to do this, how we're going to set up her author page. That's a big deal. It's a huge deal, because on Amazon, you can do your author page when you've been published in a book, and you can put your videos and your website and your bio. And I want every woman to shine. Like, please, let's come out of the dark and into the light. Let's shine, because you're not doing anyone a service by pretending you're smaller than you are. You're
Mhm.
not. So when you share your gifts, now we're creating a directory. And so I think of this as a directory, and that's how it is. Like, our authors who share their books, they actually find clients, and we do big book events, and we do podcasts, and we do a lot of because I used to be in PR. I used to do public relations for companies I worked for as part of my producer job. And so I take that over into this, and we learn to cultivate being in the spotlight. It's
Mhm.
not, it's not for vanity. It's about really sharing the gifts of your soul, and so we understand that there's nothing wrong with shining. There's nothing wrong with being bigger. There's nothing wrong with sharing your message, because this is how we're all sharing our light. And right now we need that more than anything. Don't you feel that? Like, this world
Yes.
is ready to receive this light, your sister's light. Like, and when we come together, we actually saturate this world with
Mm.
light.
Amazing. So I mean, I love Saraswati. I really connected with her when I lived in Bali, and I went to her temple in Ubud that they closed for everyone, but I would find a way through this hotel next door where the first wife of the king, the royal family of Bali, he has many wives, and the first wife lives, and I would sneak in and I found a door and I would go sit with her, and I never had known her like I knew her, and she was this fun side, a giggly side of Saraswati, and I would be there on my own because there was no one there, and I would go at, like, full moons, and I would walk around her statue, and I would create mantras, and I would learn mantras to Saraswati, so I would love to know how. I love her, and so I would love to know how, as a writer, you create with Saraswati specifically, because you mentioned that, and you have an incredible writing workshop as your free gift,
Mhm.
um, for beloveds, for our community. I'm so excited for you to connect deeper with Radha, but I'd love to know more how you, as a writer, connect with Saraswati as that archetype to enhance and activate your creative writing.
Yeah, I can't say enough about Saraswati, because her presence and her whole energy field, I feel it, like, literally, like, like on, on my crown chakra coming through. And
Mhm.
when I need to channel through writing, I just breathe. And she's actually the one who's been guiding me through the whole process with Radha Publishing House, because
Oh.
yeah, I didn't I've done PR, I've done a lot of things producing, but I didn't know how to publish a book. That was completely different. And so Saraswati has literally been guiding me, and she channels through me sometimes. So, but I'm just open to her frequency and her energy. And I think anyone who just is really humble and true, because when we come to the goddess, at least for me, I'm I'm really raw and real and vulnerable, in a sense of not disempowerment, but like my heart is open. I'm not cloaking, you know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
with that kind of, like, just like what I did with Callie, like, I just surrender. I lay down and I surrender. And in that surrendering, we get filled. We get filled with more than what we had before. And that's something we're not taught in our world, that we always have to fight, or and sometimes we, energetically we do, and that's okay. That's Callie, right? But sometimes we surrender and we get filled with more. So I just connect to the essence and energy of Saraswati, and I ask her to just give me the downloads. Download me today. What do I need to, what is, what's next? And then that's how I get the ideas for the book. For the book cover, she didn't like my first book cover for Stories of the Goddess. She literally said, no, that's not even it. And so, like, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I had paid for the artist. I bought the original art. We worked with the graphic designer. We put together this beautiful book cover. And she was like, nah. So I was like, okay, we'll go to the drawing table again and we'll do it. And then and then when I was open, because I was resisting for a while, I was like, I worked hard for this. I paid a lot for the art. It's original art. And then when I surrendered, in a minute, she showed me the art. She's like, this is it. I was like, really? Okay. Like, it's just like that, when sometimes when we were like, I put so much into this already, I don't want to redo it, I can't imagine. But that's where Saraswati is like, here, no, let me just show you. So we have to just be open, open to receive messages, downloads, And you can just close your eyes and be like, Saraswati, just show me. If you want me to change the cover, if you want me to do something else, just show me what it is. You'll be amazed how this transmission comes through your heart and your soul. And then it's a full bodied yes. You feel it,
Yeah,
it's,
you feel the difference.
yeah, you
Mhm.
feel the difference. So I was trying to force it before, like, this is it,
No, that's how we used to do it. Me
Yeah.
too. When I see it creeping in, even,
Yeah.
in the last years or so, it's like, that's that old way,
Yeah, that's the old
I gotta
way.
make the phone call. I gotta, like, white knuckle it.
Yeah.
No, you have to, if you're not in a friend shared with me, if you're not in the right frequency, just drop it because it's worthless. It's all about being in that frequency and how you're explaining how you surrender to the goddess and how she didn't like the cover. I have a relationship like that too with the beloveds where it's like, no, you have to go this way. I'm like, I tell it, and it's that surrender. And that when you get that yes, and it just this person's face comes in your vision, and you're like, that's who I gotta talk to. Or they're coming in
Yeah.
a month, just patience, hang
Mhm.
out. That
Yeah.
person, they have brown hair and they're coming in a
Mhm.
month. That person, you want to fill a certain spot.
Yes.
And that's that surrender. You're like, okay, I'll trust. I'm not gonna make 10 more phone calls just
Yeah.
in case.
It's
Like my
so
back.
true.
That's like the Piscean way, don't you feel? And
Yeah,
now it's the Aquarian way.
it's so true. I love what you're saying because that's the old way, and that's how. And I've had to unlearn so much, and I've been humbled, like really humbled, because the old when I worked in Hollywood, it's like, I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna get that location. We're gonna getting that actor. This is gonna happen. This is the outcome. It has to be this way, and we're gonna keep going until we get that result. And
Mhm.
it did work in that situation. But on the side note, I was getting completely burned out, like to the point of like my body literally, like the last few months of being in Hollywood, I was like on my deathbed. Like, no kidding. I'm not kidding. I was going through like a deep death process, and also because my adrenals were burned out, everything inside me was dying. So
Wow.
that masculine model doesn't work.
Mm-mm.
We are not here. We have a womb. Let's not forget that. This womb is so powerful. And even if we had something happen, and some of us may not have a womb, that area, that horror line, there's so
Mhm.
much. And sometimes when I'm not sure what to do next, I'll put my hand on my womb, and I'll put my hand on my heart. We'll
Hmm.
just breathe, and I'll say, Goddess, like, show me, show
Mhm.
me. I can't, I have my beliefs about what things should be, but you show me the way. And in that simple humbleness of really desiring, I desire the truth, then
Mm.
it's presented. And maybe it's even better than what I thought. And just like this cover is better than the first.
Of course.
So everyone that sees the cover is like, wow. And I'm just like, well, it wasn't my first choice, but that was me trying to force this, art, because I was like, well, I paid a lot for it, so I want to use it. And that's not always the best answer.
Mhm.
Sometimes the best answer, and then this one was not, it was easy. It was like easy peasy. In just a couple days we redid the cover, but it took me, the resistance actually, it took me a long time to come out of that resistance. And so I'm like, yeah, that's okay. We're all
Mhm.
unlearning. Like, who is perfect in this world? I'm not. And I always tell the authors, you don't have to be perfect to be a writer. What makes you think you have to be perfect? That's why we hire editors.
That is such a great statement, and, we're about to wrap up, and I would love, like, what is your final suggestion or guidance? People think I gotta be a professional writer to write a
Yeah.
book. You do not. So I just wanted to put that in. It's so great you said
Yeah.
that. But what is your final, before we share about your Saraswati free
Yeah.
writing workshop gift, what is your final takeaway for our beloved community?
Yeah. So I would just say, tune into your hearts, even right now. and just take a deep breath. And you can put your hand on your heart, your right hand on your heart, and your other hand on your womb, and just take a deep breath and ask inside yourself, like, do I have a story inside of me? Do I have a story inside of me? And if the answer is yes, then you ask, is it to be part of a collaborative book? Or is it to do my own book? Or is it both? Because it doesn't always have to be one or the other. That's the thing, is we're multidimensional. We have more options than one, and we can take that avenue and that empowerment of being part of a collaborative book, and then drive that momentum that we create into your next book. Because once you're a best-selling author, because we all share to our tribes, and that pushes pushes it up, right? We all rise together.
It makes you an industry expert
Yeah.
and of what you're sharing. When you are or you're an author, and you add that to your bio, it lends so much street cred and just
Yes.
potential connections that you never would have had before.
It's
Um,
so true. Yeah. And so the authors, even now, we just had a few authors do a book signing at Barnes and Noble for energy healing and soul medicine. Well, they were able to get more clients, and they made a special, there was two of them, and they're both in Minnesota, and they just had an event, and they put their own bookmark with their card. This is my chapter. They signed it. They put a heart, connect with me. Guess what? They receive connections. So you don't understand the way in which you can utilize this as a tool for your empowerment, for your bigger message, for your bigger purpose. And
mhm.
if you're transitioning into something that's more soul aligned for you, this is a way, because you get one page to yourself with your picture, with your bio, with your link. And guess what? When you put your bookmark there and you tell people to go there, they do it. They find you.
Wow, amazing. And I'm so excited to have heard all of this, and it inspires me. I saw in that vision when I had my hand on my heart,
Yeah.
I saw a paperback book opening up, and I saw all these little sections, and they all were separate. So for me, I feel that means multi-author. Like it
Yeah.
didn't seem like it felt like separate, like all but all
Mhm.
together, but all
Yeah.
like a family in pages.
Yes.
Amazing.
That's
And I
it.
want to also share about your amazing free gift. Tell us in just a moment, we have about a minute
Oh,
to share
yeah. Mhm.
about the Saraswati free creative writing workshop that you're offering as your free gift. Tell us all about it so they can join and connect with you. This is an incredible value. This normally is a charge. She's giving it to us free for our community, so you can work with her and you can immerse with Saraswati and
Mhm.
your writing superpowers. So tell us, beloved.
Absolutely. So, we're going to spend some time together, 90 minutes, an hour and a half, and we're going to actually dive into a Saraswati transmission. So, we're actually going to receive whatever codes are ready to activate within you, your creative codes. And in this session, and then after we do the transmission, we're gonna go into prompts. So we're just gonna start to jam out. You're gonna have your pen and paper or your computer, and we're gonna give you, directives about writing prompts, and you're gonna use this time. It's gonna flow like really fast, really easy, and it's just going to come out of you. We're not going to overthink it. We're not going to let you overthink, because that's one of the writers. Overthink. We're just going to let it flow. And I'm holding it, and then we create a sacred container so the energy's contained. And
Mhm.
that way you feel safe, you feel secure, and you know that what's coming through is meant to come through. And perhaps one of your messages is really going to come out. And this can benefit you whether you want to be a writer, or if you have a mission and vision inside of yourself and you're just trying to cultivate it. We're going to be touching on those topics. So it is going to be in a very empowering place for us. And we're going to do it tomorrow night at 7 p.m. And
Mm.
yeah, you can join, and everyone's complimentary that's on this call right now. And so I'd love to see you and spend time with you. Let's jam out, let's be creative, and allow your mission and vision to flow through. Allow Sorosity to work with you so that you can access your own creative power. My job is just to activate your creativity and to guide you through. So that's what that space is about.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then what if someone sees this video 2 months, a year from now? Is there like a replay that
Oh
they
yeah,
can get? So
absolutely.
tomorrow is live.
Mhm.
December 1st will
Yeah.
be a live Free
Mhm.
Saraswati writing workshop with Radha Nelia. And then for someone, if you're listening to this and you're in replay, you can, is there a replay link when they go to that page, when they go to that link?
Absolutely. Yeah. So for your tribe, I'll have a replay link available that I'll give you, and then anyone can watch it. It'll just be hidden on YouTube, but it's for your tribe. I want you guys to be
Hmm.
creative, be
Yay.
empowered, your heart, your voice, your womb energy, and let's make this world a better, brighter place. You matter, and your voice
Amazing.
matters.
Oh, amazing. I'm so honored and I appreciate you so much, sister, and all you're doing in the writing world. And I thank you for your time today.
Thank
And
you.
we've been blessed by Radha Nelia, CEO of Radha Publishing House, leader in the divine feminine space of publishing and inspiration for women and for the divine feminine voice for the planet, opening up divine feminine leadership and that sacred calling within you. And I thank you, sister. And thank you, beloveds. I'm Jennifer Shira. Activate your highest codes and join Light Priestess Temple community and our new Light Temple collective membership and step into your highest codes and your amazing soul gifts and masteries for the new golden age. And I thank you, beloved. And Radha Nelia, all her links are in the post where you can connect with her and find her and write your book and be the voice of the new golden age. Thank you, beloved sister. Thank you. And I'm so honored. And I will see you soon. Much love. Much love.